Richard Fuller, thank you so much for your time. Richard's been a client with me for the last year and is someone that really suffered from imposter syndrome and has made dramatic impact on this syndrome, so that to the extent that it no longer exists. And so this little recording is to capture your learnings to share with others. So really thank you for your time, Richard. The question is, yeah, so if someone's listening to this and they feel a bit of an imposter, they lack a bit of confidence, whatever, what are the key aspects of the advice you're going to give them?
Okay, yeah, I'd say there's probably three main points from my experience. The first one is just to not overthink broadly, and this goes in all areas of life, but specifically in work. My example is I would sort of replay conversations I had in my head. I would think about work that was coming in the future and see where there could be a disaster or where something could go wrong. And now I just don't do it anymore. It's not in my makeup anymore. And I think the way I've overcome that is actually just acknowledging it. And then whenever I see that ugly voice in my head appearing, I just cut it, just completely cut it. That's the first thing. The second point would be just don't compare yourself to others. I found when first joining a new this business, the business that I'm in now, that I was viewing some of my peers as just so much more self-assured than myself and so much more competent. And what I hadn't realized was back then was that's just my impression. That's all in my head. My view of them is something that's what I'm seeing through my eyes. And I have no idea what they're internally thinking. And meanwhile, I'm giving myself I'm being the harshest critic of myself. And it's self-reinforcing when you're telling yourself that you're worse than your peers. It reinforces itself. And that brings me on to the third point, which is just seek internal validation within. Do not seek external validation as your main source of pride or of work satisfaction. So I would, a success for me would be, my goal would be, I want positive feedback from my manager, from the CEO. And it didn't fill me with joy in the work I was doing because I wasn't being myself. I wasn't working for myself and doing what I thought was best. I was trying to imagine what someone else thought I should be doing or would like. And now I go into a project or building out a deck for presentation or preparing for presentation, and I think, what does a really good job look like to me? What would I be proud of? And that's starting from that base. I found actually that all that external feedback has actually now been coming since I've been focusing on the goal of internal validation. It's actually just resulted in what I wanted originally when I was coming at it from the wrong angle.
Wonderful, thank you. So if I'm just to summarize those 3 points, the first advice is don't overthink. Notice how the mind is constantly thinking and creating stories and scenarios and forward thinking and backwards looking, like the mind's going all over the place, creating the world that we live within. And we have to see that and capture it and go, hang on a second, come back, mind, unless I know something's true, don't make it up.
Yeah, reel it. You have to reel it back in.
Reel it in. Yeah, keep doing that. Point number 2 is linked to point number 3, really, which is don't compare yourself, but also don't go externally for constantly thinking about what the compass, like, focused outside on what are other people thinking about me? What do they think's good? Seeking their praise or comparing yourself against them. So the second and third point for me come together, which is go inside Focus on who you are, what your strengths are, and what you think the presentation should be in this example. Go inside for the clarity, for the strength, and you can only be who you are in this world. There's no point in trying to be what somebody else wants or as good as someone else. You're unique.
Yeah, and I think that all of these things just either can build or completely crush your confidence. You know, if you're doing them the wrong way,
Yeah,
you're just completely eroding your confidence. But if you're doing them the right way, you get on this kind of upward spiral. You see the results of the more positive way of thinking about these
yeah,
things, and that in itself, it's self-fulfilling.
yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Richard. Thanks.
Thank you.